have 2 months to make a video game, but the thing is, I never did one. Did I make it? Yeah, and even more than that. I'm super happy to share with you my journey. Stay until the end, you will see so much happen. When I was 5, I still couldn't speak. No one could understand me, and my parents were even told that I couldn't go to a normal school. Yet, I was already playing video games with my brother and sisters. I remember Crow McRally, Bagdom, Dinosaur, and most of all, Age of Empire 2, my all-time favorite. Years have passed, I completed my studies in management and found my way into the video game industry. But lately, something grew in me. Yeah, I'm working at video game companies, true. But am I really making video games? I'm handling meetings, editing Word documents and filling out Excel files. So, on what could be seen as a whim, I've quitted my job, ready to make fantastic indie games. Except that there is one problem. I don't know how to make games. Years ago I tried to make one. It was amazing. But this time I'm working full-time on it, and I won't give up. I have no clue how to make games, but I have a plan. I want to design, create and commercialize a game in 2 months. That way I'm not losing my sanity with something way too big for me. So what game should I make? I wasn't sure until I went to my goodbye party. There, one dev told me, hey, you should start with a very basic project like Pong or Pac-Man. That's what we do in coding schools. Roger that. Let's make a snake game. But a snake game is not a 2 months project. And nowadays, it also feels a bit outdated. I want to make it more challenging. You see, the problem with classic snake games is the difficulty curve is too smooth. Your main enemies are the walls and your own body. The walls are always the same and your body growth follows your progression. The more apples you eat, the bigger you get. So there is no major challenge at the start of a game and it's kind of boring. Plus, after a few runs, you have very little incentive to replay it. Boring! How can we make our snake game more rewarding? How can we add better progression to it? I checked my Steam library and I decided to make a roguelike. My first goal is to have by day 3 completed the whole design documentation of the game. I started by benchmarking and writing a design doc. It would be an iOS and Android game. The snake moves automatically and you control it by swiping like in Crossy Road. To make it more challenging, events occur as you progress. There will be obstacles and enemies and many more. When dying, it's not the end. You earn money to upgrade your snake, making your next run easier and hopefully funnier. Now that I know what game I want to make, I have 22 days to make a prototype and share it with friends. By prototype, I don't mean finishing the whole game. I only want to have a basic version of everything I listed before. And most of all, what I want to keep in mind is focusing on the foundation. Before adding too many enemies or progression elements. I want satisfying controls. If you don't like how your character moves, you don't like the game. On day 4, I start prototyping on Unity. My snake is moving, turning, it can eat apples and dash. I also added a score system and some animation. On day 5 and 6, I introduced obstacles that are now spawning on the grid and projectiles crossing vertically the board. I also tried to add an alert system to warn you where an enemy will spawn. But I don't know why I couldn't do it. And on day 7, after working on my game for just a few days, I'm facing my first technical challenge. And my motivation is low. But the truth is, technical challenge is not the problem. Bon, faut que j'arrête de me voiler la face. Là, mon jeu, il est catastrophique en termes d'apparence. J'ai voulu refaire le pixel art du Snake l'autre jour et c'est encore pire. Even a game with bad code can work. But what if the game looks also like shit? I can't have a game with an average design, bad code and bad art. So I spent the day working on the art direction. I drew some quick concept art, which in the end helped me a lot. On day 8, the new art direction is implemented. Now I'm focusing on Snake's movement, as it's 99% of the game. I want to keep a grid-based movement system like in the original Snake games, but I kinda struggle with that. I want a nice, continuous body for the snake and not the traditional blocky one. However, I don't know how to achieve that with my actual code. So I rebuilt from scratch the movement system to use something named a line renderer.
It's a Unity component that draws line between points you set in your scene, and it's pretty convenient because you can even set some desired width.
Wow!
I was super happy, and then I noticed something.
When turning, it creates weird angles. I threw everything away and rebuilt the whole system one more time, but this time with
A sprite-shaped wanderer.
Don't ask me how it works, I only know it does.
On day 11, I now have a grid debugger. It's something showing in the game what is in my code, so it's really helpful. And an alert system, finally. Revenge.
But on day 12, I realized something.
I still don't like how the game looks.
I thought doing my game in pixel art would be the easy path. It was quite the contrary. So I took my initial drawings and put them into the software where I feel the most comfortable. Figma. For those who don't know Figma, it's a tool mainly used to design app interfaces. So not exactly the kind of tool you use to make sprites for a game, but yeah, that will do it. I started by redoing my concepts as simply as possible in Figma. I didn't want to spend ages on something that is likely to go to the trash once again. Plus, the more details there are, the harder it is to animate.
A few moments later.
Okay, now I have it. I liked the shapes I came up with, but was struggling with the colors. I was so lost that I at some point even asked an AI to give me art direction ideas. Well, the results were a bit weird.
And it's at that moment that I started a side project named Let's Create a Mess in Figma!
I went back to my notes. I wanted something easy on the eyes, clear contrast, no more checkerboard, and negative space rather than those ugly work sprites polluting the screen. I checked my bookmarks for inspiration, and I found it. I watched this amazing portfolio, and at some point stopped. That blue, that yellow, that red, that's what I'm looking for. And then it clicked. Everything went so smoothly that I made mockups for the whole game. By day 15, I have my new art direction in the game. I even added camera shake. Whoa, a bit less please.
Anyway,
The colors, the shape, it feels so fresh, I love it. And then the nightmare began.
Bon, là ça fait 3 jours que je me bats avec mon code pour que mon jeu réagisse correctement au swipe. J'en peux plus. J'ai l'impression d'avoir tout essayé.
And the whole game was falling apart because of this, because one of the most important things in a video game, the 3 C's, camera, character, controls.
And the controls here.
Man, unresponsive, frustrating.
And the problem here is that snakes move automatically, but you can also make it move. And if ever you swipe right after an automatic move, you have a warping snake moving 2 times in a split second.
And this can lead to so much frustration. I tried so many things.
Like turning the head but not triggering a move when you swipe, or adding a buffer to prevent you from swiping right after an automatic move. I even removed the dash ability, but none of those options worked, and I was stuck.
On day 17, I'm staring at the wall, desperate. I don't know why, but I start thinking about Mario.
Years ago, I watched a video about how in Mario, enemies are smaller than how they look.
The game lies to you to make you feel more skilled than you really are. And I realized, that's what I need. I need a forgiveness system. If you swipe a few milliseconds after the tick, I will go back in time, cancel the automatic move, and pretend you swiped earlier.
I did that, and it worked.
I did it! Yeah!
On day 18, I am back on track, fueled by motivation once again and ready to go to reach that day 25 milestone. I still need to add 4 things: new difficulty events, a rough upgrade system, animations, and for lots of UI to support the main flow.
After such a week, I don't want to code. So I start with animations, and especially with the easiest one.
Digestion. My code goes through each point of Snake's body and make it bigger for a short moment. I now want the monsters to die in a balloony way. It's a bit too hard for me to handle the eyes and the mouth and so on. So I try animating only the shape, and it works. Same with Snake's death animation. Now I want a cute animation when Snake's about to eat.
The first version is a bit too shy, so let's try something else.
Now, it's better.
And here are the others I made.
On day 20, I start working on the event. When playing, you encounter different obstacles or enemies depending on your score. First rocks, then monsters, and then rising lava. Yes, lava!
Our brand new event!
On day 22, I work on the upgrades and all the UI I was too lazy to do until now. So I designed an upgrade screen that I redesigned 2 days after.
And some other stuff. So I add everything in the game and start working on the upgrades. For the moment, I focus on only 2 of them.
Unlocking more apples
And helping Snake grow less when eating. The others will wait.
On day 25, I have it. I have all I wanted to have. I have new difficulty events. I have rough upgrade system. I have animations. I have UI. Okay, that could do it. Just in time to share my game. Or maybe not. Because to share it, I need certificates that are only issued once I've enrolled in the Apple Developer Program. That requires my company to have a GUNS number. But to even get that, I first need to set up. And then I need to wait about 2 full days until my app is reviewed by Apple.
And finally, on day 27, I share my game with some friends. And especially with the close one who's very knowledgeable in mobile gaming.
He has already launched a few successful titles. And by successful, I mean more than 10 million downloads successful. I was super excited, ready to hear that maybe after all,
My game was more than just a warm-up.
and was worth putting in a bit more effort to potentially have a hit. He gave me lots of super nice feedbacks, and I still remember what he said. I'm really impressed that you made that much in so little time and at this level of quality. Now, since making mobile games is mainly about facing failures, my advice is, you should start planning your next project. You see, you told me progression is the core element of your game. I played your game, found an upgrade menu in a small corner of the main screen, clicked some buttons.
But I don't feel any progression.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, making mobile games is maybe mainly about facing failures. And I think this is the first one for me. I still had time though, so I decided to reboot the project, and I finished it. But that's a story for another video. If you want to spoil the surprise, you can download the game for free via the links in description. As you can see, I'm a total newbie here. It's not only my first game, but also my first video on YouTube. So maybe this video has one unique view at the moment, and I'm in reality only speaking to my mom. But if you're not my mom and you've watched my video this far, please consider leaving a comment to share your feedback or whatever. You can also like and subscribe if you enjoy my work, and yeah, that's it.